Carl Rom joins us now, Professor of Government and Public Policy at Georgetown University. Very happy, Professor. So we're talking about swing states on November the 3rd. Can we concentrate on these three in particular, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania? Unbelievably, Donald Trump won those by less than 1 percentage point 4 years ago. How does he repeat the success? How does he build upon it, indeed? What does he have to say again to get those votes?
It's going to be a real challenge for President Trump to win those three states in 2020, but it was a real challenge that he met in 2016. So he needs two things to happen. He needs his voters to turn out. His voters, his strongest base are the white voters with less than a college education. That's his core constituency. He needs them to turn out at a high rate and a very high rate. And he needs the hope that President Biden's core constituencies don't turn out so much. So he would like a lower turnout from African Americans and from those who are more highly educated and from suburban women. That's a tough call for President Trump, but that's what he's asking for.
How much do you think, again, in these three states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, it'll come down to just one issue? And I don't know what that issue might be. In Wisconsin, we have largely blue-collar voters. You would have thought that they would be the sort of people who might vote for Donald Trump. But you've got what happened recently in Kenosha with the shooting of the African-American man, Jacob Blake. So you've got different sorts of tensions. What might the issue in Wisconsin be that might either bring out the blue-collar voters for Trump or not?
So President Trump is flailing around a little bit on that. He's trying to find the issue that can persuade these voters in the upper Midwest to support him. Nothing that he's trying seems to be working very effectively. So he's made a strong claim for the law and order crowd, trying to frighten them with images of violence in some of our nation's cities. That has not changed public opinion in Wisconsin. He's tried to make the claim that he alone can bring manufacturing back to those states. But again, our economy is in a recession and manufacturing jobs are not rushing back. He's trying to make a claim that a Joe Biden presidency would be a radical leftist presidency. The voters in the upper Midwest, especially Pennsylvania, but also Wisconsin and Michigan, they know Vice President Biden and they trust him. So claiming that he's some sort of irresponsible liberal, it's hard for him to make that claim stick as well.
I'm glad you mentioned Joe Biden. How much is the former vice president's biggest advantage the fact that his name isn't Hillary Clinton?
That is a huge advantage in these three states. And let me tell you why in particular. Voting turnout was lower, especially among African American voters who had turned out in really massive numbers for President Obama. They did not turn out for Clinton. That really hurt her in those three states. So if Joe Biden, who has very good connections with the African-American community, if he can mobilize those voters, especially in the larger cities in those states, then that's going to make his chances of winning even higher.
Okay, finally, what do you think is going to happen in Florida? Monday, of course, Donald Trump, the president, was there. The first campaign rally he's held outside of the White House since going to hospital for having COVID-19. So you know this as well as I do, and I only know it because I researched it a few hours ago. I love this stat. Since 1996, the average margin of victory for presidential candidates in Florida, just 2.6 percentage points. What's going to determine the winner there, do you think?
So the winner of the presidency is likely to be the person who wins both Pennsylvania and Florida. Florida's on the knife's edge right now. There are no other large races in Florida this year. There's not a gubernatorial race or a Senate race. So it really comes down to, do the voters of Florida trust Biden or do they trust Trump? It appears that Trump's support among older voters is at risk. In large part, older voters are the ones who are most scared of the COVID-19 pandemic. President Trump needs to get these older voters. It's not clear that he's going to be able to do so. It looks like Biden may squeeze through in Florida.
Mark Carl Rom, where have you been all my life? Really, really interesting to hear your analysis. Thank you so much indeed, Professor.